Yeah, hi. This is Atul Bingeri, and today I'm going to present on the topic of pandas for data analysis. Before we get to the topic, a little bit about me. I'm Atul Bingeri. I come from the industry background with over 25 years of experience in digital transformation, looking into areas or working in areas of software engineering, software programming, project management, program management, and working across different technological spheres of software, hardware, networking, cloud infrastructure, business development, business strategy, implementation, customer handling, and a whole lot of tasks that I got into while I was working at companies like Siemens, Intel, Dell EMC, and now into being an entrepreneur using data as the prime mover into health tech, which also incidentally is the topic of my PhD. So, having said that, let's talk about why and how pandas are helpful for data analysis. And when we talk about pandas, the reference here is about Python programming. Python is a powerful programming language which has a lot of inbuilt libraries, which helps for conducting various tasks around data for data analysis, for data analytics, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. But the first and the foremost important library that one needs to refer to or one needs to use is the pandas. So here we are to talk about pandas for data analysis. Prior to getting into the depth of understanding pandas, it's important to get a know-how about various different Python libraries, starting with pandas. For data analysis and visualization, we have multiple libraries, pandas being one of it. We could also look at libraries like matplotlib, seaborn, so on and so forth. Python is also used for web development, wherein we have other libraries that can be used. Same for machine learning, because basically it has the capability of handling data, analyzing data. So machine learning naturally becomes one of the major components through the libraries that Python provides us with. Natural language processing, networking, scientific computing, and of course, game development are a few of the various different applications that can be developed using Python and Python libraries that are inbuilt. Our focus being on pandas, let's see the capabilities and the usefulness of pandas as a library within Python. It's a basic Python library used for data science. It's used mainly to handle data. It's for data management. And when we talk about data management, it is not just about storing and retrieving. It's also about how we index, how we sort the data, how we segregate the data, how we manipulate the data. While we say manipulation, it's not a negative connotation here. It's about how we refine the data, how we tidy the data so that it can be useful for better analysis and better analytics. It's also about handling the data, various different database management system uh, functions and operations on the data of adding, deleting, updating, modifying not just the data, but also the different variables, the different columns for changing the schema is also possible. And most importantly, data manipulation and data handling in terms of identifying the missing data, the outliers, the null values, not a numeric value, so on and so forth, is quite easy when we use Pandas. Python makes it easier because of the availability of such libraries, packages, and modules. So it can also be used for graphical representation, basic graphic representation of the data, because as the adage goes, the picture is worth 1,000 words. So Python can also, or rather Pandas within Python, can also be used for basic graphical representation of the data. So let's have a quiz. Quiz time. Simple one. You have to just say whether it is true or false. So the first question, Pandas library can be used for basic data visualization. True or false? You can put it on the chat and I will look at it. Yes, I'll pause for a few seconds before I go to the next question. All right. Second one, Pandas library can be used for indexing data. True or false? Yes. Put it in the chat. Okay. The third question, Pandas library can be used for natural language processing. True or false? Well, this is something which will help you really understand what Pandas library is used for when we talk about Python programming. How about a demo time? I have a Python code which I will go through while I explain as to how Pandas is used for data handling, data manipulation, and data analysis. What I've done is that I've taken the example of using two data objects within Python. One is a series, and within series, we have list and we have array and a dictionary. And then, of course, the data frame. So let's get to the demo, the Python demo. So while I've stopped sharing the screen, allow me just a minute to share the screen of the program, the Python program, using Anaconda. All right, so here we are. This is the code. Okay, so what I'm showing you is a Markdown file, mainly so that you know which is the code and what is the explanation that I have put across. So I'm introducing Pandas and how Pandas are used for data analysis. So what we are going to cover is mainly understanding Panda objects, the various series that I'm going to use to demonstrate how data is handled in Python through the use of Panda library. And then, of course, a comparison between data frame series and some common functionalities that is essential when we talk about handling data, analyzing data. So we start with series. Initially, we import the libraries and give an alias. So what you see here is when we say import Pandas as PD, so PD is the alias that we would keep using it whenever I need to refer to Pandas library. Same is the case with NumPy. NumPy is another library, which I would refer to it as NP. These are not standard naming conventions, but you can use it because it becomes easy for us to follow the naming nomenclature. And then we're going to use pathlib from the library path for bringing in data from an external source into Python environment. So creating a series. I'm going to create a series with a list or an array. So when we create a series, I'm creating a series, and this is where Pandas is being used. If you see pd.series is actually referring to the library Pandas, wherein the function of series is being used for creating a series of numbers here. And I'm storing that in a variable called data in this case. The second line here is where I'm creating an array. Array is a function call, not in Pandas, but in NumPy. I'm bringing this up because I can address both the list and the array together here. And then I'm getting the data of the series of the array into the variable data, which we had created earlier. And then I'm going to display what is in the data as a variable, which stores data as what we have provided it with. And this is what comes up. So the indexing that has happened is the numbers that you see as 0, 1, 2, 3, which is basically the memory location, or sorry, not the memory location, but the location of the data element which gets stored within the series in this case. If I need to add some labels to the series, I could use the list. List is again a data type, which helps me in providing multiple different data type handling operations, which in this case, we're going to turn it into a string and assigning data elements to it, the way you're seeing here using series, and then indexing it by alphabets. The third in the series is the dictionary, wherein we can specify the value and their index in a structured manner, wherein it's a string that gets associated with some number. So different data types can be combined, clubbed in a dictionary. Coming to the data frame, again, the series, the list, the array, and the dictionary, they may all be one-dimensional array. But if I need two-dimensional array, wherein we deal with rows and columns, and generally data comes as rows and columns, most often than not, I need a data frame. And the way to deal with a data frame is to create rows and columns. So here we are creating a data frame with the name of the variable as rows by providing it with inputs of the different data elements or the rows that get created. And in this case, you see the three rows that have got created without any names. And by default, it has taken up the indexing. And indexing always starts with 0 for both the rows and the columns. Now we're going to add columns, or rather add names to the columns. And this is what we have done by using, again, the concept of the list, the array, and dictionary. In this case, we have created the columns by giving it names. And if you see, it has come through as part of seeing how the data frame looks like. And now I can also look at how I can use a dictionary and then convert it into a data frame. And while we are doing all of this, we are using Pandas efficiently and extensively for handling data, for analyzing data, and for viewing data, which I will show you in the next few lines of code, wherein we will talk about some common functionalities. So common functionalities is basically to see how the data looks like. So what we have done is that I've imported a file. It's a CSV file into the Pandas, into the Python environment. And what I've done is to see what the data frame consists of. So it consists of 1,470 rows and 27 columns. Wow, this is 27 columns of various different data elements, various different column names, variables. So this becomes interesting. And this is when it also gets complicated, for which I need to dig deeper into knowing the data. So I will not only need to know the uh, the column names, not only the number of rows, but also the description of it. And while I do that, if I need to look at some specific rows, I can use specific references to the rows and bring it up for viewing, not just rows, but also columns. And then if I need to look at anything specific, like the age in this case, which is a column, I can define and view what is that particular variable, and it brings me up the data, the details. This is how we use various different inbuilt function calls, which is inbuilt within Pandas for understanding data, for manipulating data, for cleaning data, and analyzing data. That's about it for now. Thank you so much. For further reading, what I would suggest is to go through the link that I have provided here, which takes you to the Pandas documentation, to the Python documentation, which is a good read. So see you on the other side. Till then, happy learning, happy coding. Bye-bye for now.